It started with a phrase that seemed almost poetic, a golden dome for America. But what President Trump unveiled in his latest remarks was not metaphor. It was a call for an all-encompassing missile defense system, a 21st-century shield that could protect the entirety of the United States from airborne threats, nuclear or otherwise. To some, the name conjured images of Israel's Iron Dome, a tactical missile defense system that had, time and again, intercepted incoming projectiles aimed at civilian centers. The Iron Dome had become almost legendary, its radars scanning the sky, calculating threats in seconds, and firing interceptors with near-surgical precision. But while Israel's Iron Dome covers a nation roughly the size of New Jersey, Trump's Golden Dome envisioned something far more ambitious, protecting over 3.8 million square miles of American territory, hundreds of millions of people, and a vast web of cities, infrastructure, and military sites. This wasn't the first time America had flirted with missile defense on a grand scale. Since the Cold War, the U.S. has developed an arsenal of systems: ground-based mid-course defense in Alaska and California, Aegis ballistic missile defense aboard Navy ships, THAAD batteries placed in key locations. Then there were ambitious new programs like the Glide Phase Interceptor, the hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor satellites, and laser-based directed energy weapons under research by the Missile Defense Agency. But none of these came close to what the Golden Dome suggested: full-spectrum, layered defense capable of intercepting everything from slow-moving drones to hypersonic glide vehicles. The plan, though vague in official documentation, seemed to imply a fusion of current and next-gen systems: space-based sensors for early warning, radar arrays linked across NORAD and Space Command, AI-driven battle management software, and interceptor networks stationed across the country. Theoretically, threats could be detected in seconds, trajectories calculated, and interceptors launched before they even breached U.S. airspace. But that's the theory. In practice, experts quickly raised questions. For one, scale. Israel's Iron Dome protects small population clusters and intercepts relatively unsophisticated projectiles. The U.S., in contrast, faces potential threats from intercontinental ballistic missiles, maneuverable hypersonic weapons, and low-flying cruise missiles that can evade radar detection. Systems like Iron Dome can cost $50,000 to $100,000 per interceptor. Scaling that up for the U.S. would require tens or even hundreds of thousands of interceptors, plus a sprawling radar and sensor grid to match. Then there's the cost. Preliminary estimates suggest a true Golden Dome, one capable of shielding the homeland in a high-saturation scenario, could range from hundreds of billions to over $1 trillion. The Iron Dome itself was funded by over $2.6 billion from the U.S. for Israeli use, and that covered only a handful of batteries and interceptors. When analysts at CSIS and RAND examined full homeland defense scenarios, they emphasized not only the economic burden but the enormous logistical and engineering demands. A nationwide system would need to be redundant, constantly updated, and defended against cyber and physical attacks. It would also need to distinguish between real warheads and decoys, something even advanced radar systems still struggle with. Critics in the defense and diplomatic communities raised another concern: escalation. If the U.S. developed a near-perfect shield, would it undermine nuclear deterrence? Russia and China have long opposed U.S. missile defense expansion, viewing it as destabilizing and threatening their retaliatory capabilities. A truly effective Golden Dome might prompt adversaries to build more missiles, deploy countermeasures, or move more aggressively in contested regions like Taiwan or Eastern Europe. Some within the Pentagon remain skeptical, warning that even the best defenses can be overwhelmed by a mass missile barrage or hypersonic strike swarm. Others, however, saw strategic value. Not as a perfect shield, but as a resilience-enhancing system, one that could guard against rogue actors like North Korea or Iran, or against smaller-scale attacks that wouldn't justify full nuclear retaliation. In that sense, the Golden Dome wasn't about invincibility. It was about survivability. There were other benefits too. A comprehensive missile defense grid could double as an early warning and emergency response platform for natural disasters, nuclear leaks, or even space threats like asteroid impacts. Think of it as a 21st century NORAD, not just watching the skies for missiles, but for anything that might harm the American public. Despite the ambition, Congress remained split. Republicans largely rallied behind Trump's proposal, calling it a bold deterrent that would reaffirm American dominance in defense. Democrats, by contrast, questioned the lack of specificity, potential budget blowouts, and the risk of diverting resources from diplomacy and arms control. As debate unfolded, defense contractors began lining up, pitching new radars, AI systems, lasers, and next-gen interceptors, all hoping to secure a place in what could be the largest defense project in American history. Meanwhile, the public reaction was mixed. Supporters called it necessary in a world of proliferating missile threats. Skeptics saw a costly fantasy that risked escalating global tensions. Others simply asked, if the Iron Dome sometimes struggles to stop every rocket over Tel Aviv, how could a Golden Dome ever stop everything over Chicago, LA, New York, and beyond? And yet, the proposal tapped into something deeper, an old American idea that no threat should be beyond our reach, no homeland left undefended. Whether or not the Golden Dome is ever built, the conversation it sparked, about safety, deterrence, and the future of warfare, will shape defense policy for decades to come. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who thinks critically about the future of global security. So take a moment to like the video, subscribe for more in-depth stories like this, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you support a missile shield for the US, or does the Golden Dome risk becoming a trillion-dollar illusion? One thing's for sure, from Washington briefings to defense contractor boardrooms, the Golden Dome is no longer just a metaphor. It's the future some are already preparing for.